Good morning, eighth graders. Happy Monday, September 14th. Here is your social studies to-do list for today. I am going to go over some changes in Canvas. I've been trying to delete things that you don't necessarily need and make it easier for you to find things, okay? Because I know this is overwhelming for a lot of people. When you go to your homepage for eighth grade social studies, you'll notice that the announcements are still there. So when I'm done with my video today, you will see Monday 9/14 up here. Over here on the right, you still have your overall to-do list, announcements, calendar events, assignments that need to be done. Don't forget to turn in anything from last week for the practice week, because this week everything is starting to count. You will notice over here that I've gotten rid of all of these clickable icons and we just have home. What I'm going to show you is your workflow will be all clickable links that will take you to where you need to go. Super easy and streamlined, all right? As always, here is the new Zoom button. I will see you on Wednesday for live lesson. But if you click on weekly workflow now, it's going to take you to week number 2. And every week you're going to have a chart that looks like this. It's going to have the day of the week. At the top will always be your daily to-do list. So these videos that I'm making for you. And then underneath will have what you are expected to do. So as you can see, there are still some gaps that I need to fill in for Wednesday and Thursday. But I just wanted to get this posted so you guys can see what it will look like. That way, if you happen to finish Monday and you want to get started on Tuesday, you can go ahead and do that. If there is an item that is underlined, that means that there is something attached and the assignment is ready to go. If it's not underlined yet, see how Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday CNNs are not underlined. There is no CNN 10 yet because they don't post them until between 9 and 10 the night before. So if you need to work ahead, you can. Junior Scholastic will be made available later today. But if you want to work ahead, you may do so at your own pace, or you can go day by day. I wanted to give the students the option to get used to this workflow this week. So expect things to continue to add as the week goes on. But for today, you have your daily to-do list that you're watching, and you have your CNN 10 warm-up. I have changed how CNN 10 is shown. It's not going to say submit assignment in the top corner anymore because I've not made it an assignment. I've made it a discussion. There were too many people last week that were saying this button wasn't coming up. So I tried to solve the problem and make it a discussion. So it is Monday. You're going to pick one story in today's show and summarize it in your own words in a sentence. You're going to watch it. And then you're going to go underneath Carl and click on reply. Reply is going to open up the box, very similar to the one you had before. You're going to type your response, and then you're going to click post reply here in the bottom right. Okay, so there you go, and your reply will show. Simple as that. Going back to our workflow, you'll see that the only other thing you are responsible for today is your big 3 in your study guide. We are starting curriculum this week. We are starting curriculum today, so that means we are going to be doing study guide. If we were in school in a normal situation, I would be providing you with that blank study guide like I always did. However, because you guys are at home, you're just going to use an average everyday notebook, or you can use any kind of paper. Remember, your study guide notes are not graded by me. They are never seen by me. They are simply your notes that you can take, and you are allowed to use them on any tests or quiz. All right? So my suggestion would be go ahead and grab a notebook or a piece of paper. Remember, it's easier to write the long way horizontally so that you have more room. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over your big 3 for lesson number 1. And our concept for lesson number 1 is what skills do historians use when reading historical documents? So 8th grade is all about U.S. history. And we're going to learn about historical documents for this first lesson. So as always, we have our big 3. We have graphic organizer, big ideas, and vocab. So feel free to pause as you need to draw or write whatever you need to in your study guide. Again, keep it as clean or as messy as you want. These are your notes for you to use on tests and quiz. I will never see them, but they are yours to use to your advantage. So here's your graphic organizer for lesson number 1. we have this long flow chart here that takes us from the concept of an artifact, which you guys learned about last year through world geography and archaeology. An artifact is material evidence from the past. And we take this concept of an artifact and then we begin to question it. Okay. We think about what was it used for? What is it? Where was it found? And we use these reading skills that I'm sure you've learned with Miss MacArthur to determine the answer to these questions. We use sourcing. Okay. Remember those primary and secondary sources we talked about last year? Contextualizing, close reading, and corroborating, meaning backing up your story with somebody else's. And then we take this questioning, and historical reading skills allow us to determine the value of the evidence, meaning is it worth something? Here are your big ideas for the lesson. Remember, you just have to copy these bullet points down into your study guide. If you've never been with me before, your friends can help you out. If you have a sibling that's had me before, they can help you out. Or you can email me or text me. The past happens once, and all that remains are the evidence, artifacts of the past: documents, pictures, objects, maps, graphs, charts, records, and or any other material evidence. Historical inquiry is the process of investigating questions about the past by analyzing evidence based on the artifacts in order to make a claim or provide an explanation. In conducting historical inquiry, historians use historical reading skills to evaluate written artifacts. Historical reading skills include sourcing, contextualizing, and closely reading and examining the artifact. In addition, historians use multiple sources to corroborate evidence before drawing a conclusion. By using historical reading skills, we can evaluate the trustworthiness of an artifact or document. So I know that is a lot of what may be gibberish to you right now, but remember, this is just an introduction to the lesson, and then we will go over this as the lesson goes on, and then these points will become clearer to you. And of course, we have our vocab. All right. I don't expect you to write the example or copy the picture. I just need you to know the word itself and the definition that goes along with it. So make sure you copy these into your study guide on a brand new page. We have artifact, material evidence from the past. Example, the artifact provided some evidence about how people lived in the past. Number 2, evidence, facts or information that can be used to test whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. Example, historians use evidence such as artifacts and documents that help tell a story about the past. Number 3, historical inquiry, the process of determining what happened that involves posing questions and collecting and analyzing sources to build historical interpretations. Example, in trying to determine what happened, the historian engaged in the process of historical inquiry using a variety of sources for information. Number 4, historical reading skills, specific ways in which historians critically read a document that includes sourcing, contextualizing, close reading, and corroborating. Example, before reading the document, the historian sought to determine who wrote it as well as the context under which it was written. Number 5, sourcing, attempting to identify the origin of a particular historical account or artifact by creating who, what, where, when, and why it was created. Example, sourcing is one way in which historians try to establish the accuracy and reliability of a source. Many of these words should be familiar for you from last year. Contextualizing, placing an idea, statement, or event into the environment in which it was created, time and or place. Example, by contextualizing the source, the historian knew the writer was talking about the Revolutionary War. Number 7, close reading. Thoughtful, critical analysis of a text that focuses on significant details or patterns in order to uncover layers of meaning that lead to deep comprehension. Example, through a close reading of the text, the reader could see the use of loaded language the author used to convey his idea. Number 8, corroborating, the use of additional sources to determine the extent to which they support each other. Example, the lawyer presented corroborating evidence through testimony. Number 9, historical account, a report or description of an event from the past that is putting together using evidence from multiple sources. Example, the author supported his historical account of slavery with several sources. And number 10, perspective, a particular attitude or way of regarding or seeing something. Example: students' perspective on we the people may be different from the framers of the Constitution or from one another. So as you can see, you have a lot to write today. You have 10 vocab words, you have 5 major points for your big ideas, and you have a large graphic organizer. So that is your only responsibility for today, is to get this done as well as your CNN. Please feel free to pause this video and copy as you need to. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or text me. Have a great day.